Minakata Kumagusu was born on April 15, 1867 in Wakayama City as Yahei's second son. His father Yahei owned a hardware shop. He dealt in pens and kettles. When he was a child, he used to play with the old books, which were used as wrapping paper, and copy the stories of the books down into the tin plates using paint. People called him Butcher Bird because he tied his hair on his back, like a butcher bird's tail, as a charm for health.
Hey, Butcher Bird!
Who's calling me? He was healthy until the age of entrance into elementary school. He sometimes played with his friends on the bridge. Hello, I'm here.
Don't step on the railing. Go to school right now.
Okay, I'm coming. Kumagusu loved to read books. One day, at his friend's house, he found 105 volumes of books called Wakan Sansai-zue. Hurry up! Let's go! He went to read the books every day. Finally, he copied down the contents of all the volumes in 3 years. When he was a junior high school student, he was taught natural science by his teacher and came to be interested in Western plants and animals more and more.
I'm going to catch crabs at Wakaura. I got it! Oh, this is a tebogani crab. Do you know each side of the male's claw and female is different? Studying things like this is fun. What should I do after I graduate from junior high school? I want to study more. Hey, Tokyo! I'll go to Tokyo to study. I'll ask my father. Father, I want to study more. Please, let me go to Tokyo to study. Son, are you sure? You study more?
Please allow him to go. Our business has been going well.
All right. Go to Tokyo and study hard. Kumagusu.
You're lucky, my dear. I'm glad your father allowed you to study.
Yahoo! Thank you, father and mother. Goodbye, everyone. I'll leave to go to Tokyo.
Kumagusu was admitted to Daigaku Yobimo, the present-day Tokyo University.
Now, I'm ready to study. But all of the students look so smart to me.
Though he entered the university with some expectations, he didn't attend any classes at all, as he thought the lessons seemed to be meaningless for him. Instead, he spent all his time in going to the libraries and collecting plant specimens.
Kumagusu, You and I are in trouble. We have failed. I think I'm not as healthy as I should be. I'm better going back to Wakayama, I guess.
Kumagusu went back to his hometown. After a while, he got well and found a new dream.
Father, I have an important thing to tell you. Will you do me a favor, please? Tell me, my son. There is only one place where I can study. That's America. Please let me go there. What? America? What are you talking about? There's a big difference from Tokyo. I can get a chance to study only in America. No way! I'll never allow you. I won't eat anything unless you allow me. Even if I die. Have it your way. He is such a stubborn boy. Leave him alone, and he will give up soon.
Darling, it's been 10 days since he stopped eating. Should I call the authorities?
No, I cannot do such a shameful things. I understand. He really wants to study. Kumagusu, go to America and learn as much as you can. Wow, thank you very much. You are my father, indeed. I have decided to go to the United States.
Kumagusu left Japan from Yokohama port to travel to America in 1886.
I'm so excited. I will study hard here in America. Hey, Kumagusu! We have just arrived in San Francisco.
He arrived in San Francisco and entered into Pacific Business College.
Oh, I'm so sleepy. This is not the school that I'm looking for. I'll try another school. There is an agricultural school in Lansing, Michigan. It must be a good place to study biology. So, I'll go to Lansing.
Kumagusu entered the agriculture school in Lansing, Michigan. However, it wasn't the place to study he had been looking for.
Ew, there's no place to learn about biology. I'll study by myself. I quit this school.
Kumagusu quit the agriculture school easily. He had persuaded his father to let him come to America, but now he felt helpless.
Oh, what shall I do? Where should I study? School is not the only place to study. The great natural environment is out there. I can study all of the things I want to know from the earth.
He never lost hope, and to his merit, he never worried. Kumagusu came to a town called Anaba, rented a house, and began to collect plants there. From that time, he started to correspond through letters with Mr. Calkins, who had collected the most specimens of the plants in the United States.
Kumagusu, there are a lot of rare plants in Florida, and they haven't been investigated yet. Why don't you go and study them?
Florida. All right, I'll go. It's as hot in Florida as I had supposed. Here is a shop owned by Chinese people. I'm going to start studying specimens while working for this show. Excuse me, I came here to study plants. Could you employ me as a living worker?
Are you a scholar?
Well, I'm going to be a great scholar.
Okay, it's worthwhile to follow your dream. Help me with my shop as a living worker.
I appreciate it very much.
Kumagusu was planning to study the plants around the Caribbean Sea after finishing some studies in Florida.
Mr. Cole, I'm going to Cuba. Will you give me time off for a while?
No, you can't do that. Cuba is a terribly dangerous place to go, you know. You may be killed if you go to the place the battle breaks out.
Don't worry. I'm the son of a Tengu in Kumano.
What is a Tengu?
Putting it in Chinese terms, you could say it's a Japanese long-nosed goblin having magical powers. Well, I'll be seeing you then. So long. It's hot in Florida, but it's much hotter here than Florida. I'll go out to study. Here's something interesting. I've never seen the writing like this. I'll send this specimen to Mr. Calkins right now.
Calkins was surprised to see the specimen which had been sent by Kumagusu, so he forwarded it to Dr. Nylander in Paris. Later, it proved to see a writing of a new kind. After finishing the investigation in Cuba, Kumagusu went back to Florida.
I'm home, Mr. Cole.
Welcome back, Kumagusu. I'm really glad to see you back safe and sound.
He spent a little more time in Florida working for Cole's shop. Also, he put the specimens in order which he had collected in Cuba. Then, after a while, he decided to move to London.
I think Europe is the best place to learn this field of study. I'm eager to study more. I'll go to London now. Mr. Cole, I'm going to London.
He left from New York for England. He arrived at the port of Liverpool in the United Kingdom in 1892.
The British Museum is the most famous place in London. There are a mountain of treasures collected from all over the world. I have to go and see them right away. I feel that this museum is different somehow. I'll read through every book stored in the museum, no matter what it says.
He stayed in London, dreaming over with hope. But after a while, he learned his father had died.
Mr. Nakai, have you gotten any messages for me from Japan?
Kumagusu, your father has passed away.
What? My father has died? I can't believe it. He always let me have my own way. Father, you encouraged me by seeing me off to go overseas. I cannot be overwhelmed with sorrow anymore. Please watch me from heaven, Father, because I'll do my best to study hard in London.
Kumagusu had been in London for a year. During that time, he contributed his report to the English science magazine, Nature. It was printed under the title of Toyo no Seiza, the Oriental Constellation. The article was new and surprisingly refreshing to European people who knew little accurately about the Orient. He got to know Mr. Frank, the general manager of the British Museum, and the manager asked him to help with cataloging the Oriental books and materials. He came to be able to use the reading room in the museum. He copied valuable books to his notebooks. Now they are called London Nukigaki in 52 volumes. Every day he went to the museum and continued to study. Also, he contributed articles to Nature and notes and queries frequently, but one day he got into a big fight with other people in the reading room. The trouble caused him to be banished from the museum. Moreover, remittances from Japan had dropped off, so Kumagusu returned to Japan unwillingly. Kumagusu came back to Japan After an interval of 14 years in 1900,
Japan seems to have changed a lot. I will make contact with my younger brother, Tsunegusu, as soon as possible.
Older brother Kumagusu, nice to see you again.
Oh, Tsunegusu, you grew up so fast.
Anyway, aren't you looking so shabby? Let's stay in Kobe together for tonight.
Tsunegusu had taken over the business from their father. Kumagusu came back to Wakayama and began to collect plants in the area of Wakanoura Bay. Tsunegusu's family had to take care of him. Then, Kumagusu went to work for Minakata Sake Brewing Company in Katsuya City. At the same time, he started to collect plants around the area of Nachi Falls. He was filled with wonder at the great nature there, and he was fascinated by many kinds of groups of plants which were growing there. While he had been zealous about collecting plants, he completed over 30 theses in English and sent them to publishers like Nature and Notes and Queries in England. After the studies in Nachi for about 2 years, he walked the Kumano Kodo, the ancient pilgrimage road to Kumano in Tanabe, and met one of his classmates from junior high school. He had been thinking of going to London once again, but he got married in Tanabe and settled down there. He continued to collect plants, but the forests where he loved to collect them were being deforested one after another. Throughout Japan, the forests around shrines had long been protected by the people of each region, but the road to combine shrines and temples established by the national government led to the disappearance of the shrine forest.
Lots of things are living in this forest. It is out of the question to destroy the forest on human wing. If I don't stop the combining shrine and temples now at all costs, we'll have no hope for our future.
In 1881, Kumagusu began to make appeals about the importance of forests, which were serialized in the newspaper to protect nature through resistance to the law. Kumagusu burst into a lecture of government officers to develop combined shrines. As a result, he was arrested by the police. The idea of conservation of nature was not yet understood in those days. The protest campaign started in Tanabe, and the issue of the law was argued in the Diet. Finally, 10 years later, the law was repealed in 1918. The campaign had been kept up for 10 long years, and Kumagusu had an invitation from the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA. During that time, He wanted to accept the proposal and go abroad to study, but he didn't, because he couldn't drop the campaign which had been gradually taking root. At that time, some of his papers had appeared in Japanese magazines. He received letters from researchers all over Japan. Some of them suggested establishing a plant research institute for Kumagusu. The then Prime Minister agreed with the plan, but it wasn't realized for several reasons. The project of the institute came to a deadlock, and his life became hard. One day, Kumagusu got a message from the emperor unexpectedly. The messenger said the emperor wanted to see him.
Dr. Kumagusu, His Majesty the Emperor wants to hear a lecture of your study about biology.
As a matter of fact, Kumagusu had neither graduated universities nor had any degrees. In those days, it was quite an irregular matter for a person without degrees to give lectures to the emperor. In 1929, the battleship Nagato came into the harbor in Tanabe Bay. Emperor Showa landed at Sambashi in Shirahama town and visited Seto Marine Biological Laboratory of Kyoto University on foot. Then the emperor collected fungi on Kashima Island. Kumagusu was presented to the emperor on the island, and after that he waited for the emperor coming back on the battleship because Kumagusu had leg trouble. On the battleship, Kumagusu gave a lecture to the emperor for 30 minutes. This was the most glorious occasion of his life, and he had led a hard life. Time passed and the war came. In 1931, the war with China broke out, triggered by the Manchurian incident. Kumagusu came to lose his health gradually. During the war, on his deathbed, Kumagusu saw a vision of purple flowers on the ceiling above him. He told his wife,
I see beautiful flowers from the ceiling. Please, don't call the doctor.
The next day, he passed away on December 29, 1941. Minakata Kumagusu lived a stormy life. His way of thinking and his behavior might have been unconventional in those days, but he left a message about the possibility to live in harmony with all creatures on the planet Earth.